If we finish this, we'll go over it with the homework worksheet. All right, what's surface tension? In case I ask about it on the quiz.
Like the sticking of the molecules together in the surface.
Okay.
It holds the particles of liquid together.
It holds the particles of a liquid together. All right, there's nothing wrong with Caroline's answer either. All right, you want to say yours again? There's nothing wrong with theirs. There's nothing wrong with yours. Sure. All right, what'd you say?
It holds the particles in liquid together.
Sure. Okay, both of those are fine.
The particles in liquid, it holds it together.
All right, what types of compounds have poor surface tension? Non-polar. All right, what are the two types of solids? Crystalline and amorphous. All right, how do we tell them apart? There's two answers you can give me.
Crystalline is a definite.
All right, crystalline is a definite crystal structure.
And then amorphous
Is randomly arranged. Okay, that's one answer you could give.
Did you say ambiguous?
Huh?
Ambiguous.
No, I don't like that. I'll just be honest, no.
So random shape?
The particles are randomly arranged. Okay, the crystalline has a definite crystal pattern. Right, there are actually 7 crystal patterns, but amorphous has a random pattern. Now, there's one other way that you can describe how they're different. Anybody know?
Crystalline has a definite boiling point. And then
Change the boiling point to a different word.
melting.
Has a definite melting point. All right, crystalline has a definite melting point, and amorphous does what?
has a ring.
It melts over a range of temperatures. Now, and I would use either of those to describe how they're different on a quiz or a test. Okay? So crystalline melts at one melting point, one fixed melting point. But amorphous melts over a range of temperatures. Everybody understand that? Okay.
It was Monday.
It was on Monday.
I didn't remember either.
Now, I know this is a foreign concept to you guys. And I know y'all have lots going on. But sometimes after we go over stuff, have you ever thought to go back and look over your notes?
Of course not.
Of course not. Okay.
Unless you assign a quiz or something.
Okay. Sometimes it's useful to go back and look over things. Okay. Most of our quizzes for the rest of the semester will be a hodgepodge of multiple choice and free response. Some of the ones that we have left, some of you are going to do terrible on because you're going to be like Almaja and go, you talked about that? Yes, I did. Okay. So you might want to look at some of those between now and exam time. So
have a lot of confidence.
I'm just saying based on the questions you ask. You talked about that? Yes, we did. It was only this week. Wasn't that long ago. Not like we had a week of snow in between. It was just a couple days ago. All right. Okay. I am too. I wished it was Friday when I got here this morning. So when we look at this question, it asks us to find heat. We're okay with calculating Q, right? So which Q equation do we need? What are the... How do we know?
It freezes.
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
They're not wrong, Almaja. Okay? That's how they knew.
I didn't know what I was supposed to say.
Okay. It's okay that you said, but that's how they know. Okay? Because it says freezes. All right. So the keys that they're trying to tell you, all right, is you have Q equals MHF, Q equals MHV, and Q equals MCP delta T. First of all, do you see any temperatures in that equation? So which formula should you eliminate? The delta T one, because you have no temperature, so you're not going to pick delta T. Okay? Now, this one, if you like what Caroline said, and there's nothing wrong with it. F stands for fusion. Now, that's the science word for it. There's nothing wrong with equating fusion with freezing. Nothing wrong with it. Fusion is freezing, okay? Or melting, because melting and freezing are the opposite. So both of those words go with that. Does that make sense? All right. This is vaporization. All right. What are the two words that we said went with vaporization? And evaporation. Now, boiling also goes there. So those three go with there. So if we use any of those three words, you're going to pick that equation. So since this question said freezing, we're picking Q equals MHF.
What?
Yes, ma'am?
No, like, what if it says steam?
What if it says what?
If it says steam, it's like evaporation.
Evaporation. Yep.
Okay. Great.
All right. So we're looking for heat. Mass is 35.6. HF. We talked about this yesterday. It's on your blue sheet. Okay. There's only one HF on the blue sheet. So you can't get that wrong if you can find it. 334. And then you multiply to get the answer. 11,890 what?
0.4 joules.
What if we put in a scientific notation?
Are you gonna put any of those weird ones with calories on the quiz?
I don't think I did.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what is?
I'll work it. All right. So if we look at the math one, since we're doing math at the moment. Question 1.
Wait, is this?
I said we do the math one first, since we're doing the math.
Okay.
Here, Devontae, since you were out yesterday.
You're not checking it?
I wasn't going to know.
Are you serious?
Yes,
I worked so hard on this.
that benefits you on the quiz.
You literally said.
You said,
Yeah, you
so
said.
I'm going to
Yeah,
check it, guys.
When did I say that?
Yes,
Yes,
there.
Or
Or
you
you wouldn't have
said, you
quiz.
better do it, because last time I had 13 zeros. Right.
Yeah.
So like
You said, when I check it tomorrow, I hope I don't have to put in 13 zeros.
You did say that. Yes.
Exactly.
No,
I
said it.
So I need you to come around.
It's wow.
I'm walk around and do this.
I worked so. I do it.
He didn't just lay them side by side.
It's
so I can
wrong.
look quickly.
We don't even have to. This is taking up time to get that calorie.
I didn't take it out mine and then do our own work.
I didn't know how to. I didn't when I knew how to.
It's better than
Thank you.
No, we haven't learned how to do that yet.
I look,
I
it was
worked
great.
so hard.
It's a graph.
You have my whole bullet points. Oh, well, that's good. Then I don't have to teach you. That's good.
That is
That's
hard.
not one of those problems. You're looking up stuff I haven't taught because you didn't look up the stuff I did teach.
Calories?
You couldn't make me say anything about calories.
I don't even know. But I literally sat and okay, no, it's right. I was like,
Yeah, how do you look up?
like it was like the first.
Yeah, I know
one.
calories. Calories threw me off to where I didn't even do either one.
The back of it, like the graph part was like easy. I tried so hard.
Yeah, but I'd rather wait till we get taught this.
I didn't do it because I just don't have to do it anymore. I did this on another sheet of paper. I don't know when. I had two on my other.
For AP.
I'm saying that I didn't have this sheet. Like a DVT
You were not know like some kind of supplier. Yeah, at first.
Yeah, clearly that wasn't. I was just really.
So no Jada, no Annette.
It's not.
She was doing it wrong, and I was like, you have the wrong thing.
All right, and this was phase change and calculate Q. All right, can we do it now? All right, number one. You should have 1,045 joules.
Wait, I didn't.
That is nowhere near what I got.
Shocking. Number two. 250 calories.
Oh, he's the wrong one.
What did you do?
I just put 50. I just got it figured out.
Number three. 11,690 joules. 1.16 times 10 to the fourth. Number four, 192,100 joules. 1.92 times 10 to the fifth. Number five, 5,225 joules. Indian scientific. Number six, 16,700 joules. 1.67 times 10 to the fourth.
You don't even have to like, if you just multiply them.
I'll show you.
I'm kind of blessed.
All right. So in number two, for those people who are like, huh?
Who isn't like, I know the calories. Well, I saw it and I was like, okay, it says specific.
All right. It says use the information from number one. So what's the mass from number one? So you're putting in 5. You're still solving for Q. You're still using the temperature change from number one, which is what? 50. And it's telling you to use the specific heat that I just gave you in number two, which is what?
1. Wait.
You just plug in a different number.
That's it. And then you write calories.
Oh, so clarification.
I thought calories
It's not gonna be on the quiz, right?
No, I'm only putting joules on the quiz.
Okay.
All right, calories is the unit we use here in the United States. Joules is the scientific unit we use in the scientific world. It's the SI unit. Okay, but we use calories here in the U.S. Yes. Yes. Heat and energy are the same thing.
Okay, wait, can you?
All right, now
Formula
for number one. All right, so at number one, you're doing the same thing. So you're solving for heat. All right, what's the mass in number one? The 5. What's the change in temperature in number one? All right, and what's specific heat for water? All right, where's your blue sheet? Page 1. All right.
Oh, wait, which one?
You said number one for water. Okay, water. Specific heat of water.
Oh, okay, so that's what I did wrong.
Yes.
For the.
Yes. See, and that's the heat of vaporization.
Oh.
So you got to pick specific heat. So you got to pick that.
Wait, so the formula wasn't that?
No,
Okay.
because you have a temperature change in delta T. So you have to pick the delta T formula I have at the top of the board.
Okay. All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're going to put the 4.18 there, and then just multiply those together. And that's how you get the 1,045 joules. All right, what's next? Just 1 and 2? Anybody else? 3, 4, 5?
I said 3.
3? All right, now here are 4. All right, so number 3, it says, what key word there? Melt. It says melt, okay? So it says melt. All right. F. It says melt, so we got F. Okay? So that's how we know HF. It says melt. So we need Q. Mass in number 3 is 35. And then HF, we look up on the blue sheet on the front page. And what's HF? 334. So we put 334 there. And then we multiply, what did I call out? 11,690 joules.
I chose the wrong one.
You picked heat of vaporization.
Yeah.
That's why. All right, number 4. All right, we need a Q there. All right, do we have a temperature change in number 4? No. What's the key word? It says steam or condense. Okay, so steam or condense is going to tell us MH what? V. So our mass in number 4 is 85. And then heat of vaporization is what? Yep. And then multiply those and you get 192,100 joules.
Okay. These are easy.
But then I put that.
And so I take the quiz.
No.
Yeah, something about me goes close.
It's too syntax that makes it more.
You gonna add stuff to it?
No. I mean, the only catch there could be is if I gave you Q and M and I had you solve for H.
But can't we just
Oh.
Does he just divide?
Not if I gave you a problem where I asked you to find H.
Wait,
But that doesn't make
Okay,
any
so
sense.
what
But
up?
that's-
But you
I
did
thought
it,
H and
right?
B.
I didn't say I didn't know.
H and B are together.
Y'all know how to plug in 2 numbers and divide.
Wait.
Wait, I thought I could only give you one day.
Why couldn't I give you a problem where I gave you Q and I gave you M and expected you to find H?
Because you didn't tell us that.
Okay, hold your roll here, people. Everybody in here is past Math 2, and some of y'all have Math 3 next semester. Everybody in here knows how to plug in a Q and plug in an M and solve for an H.
That's not what I'm saying. Like on the reference table, we just figured for another number every time. So
If I, meaning Miss Wall, give you a heat in a question, and I say the heat is blah blah and the mass is blah blah, what is the heat of fusion? I would expect you to be able to divide to get the heat of fusion. That would be the only twist I could add since Sailor said, what's the catch? I didn't lie to you.
you said that
Only.
HB
One,
and
three,
H
three,
is
four.
only the number on the reference table.
Explain. Don't do no extra stuff.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, well, yeah, there's a catch because that's the only catch I can add because the state has said those are the only. I'm not asking you to plug in a different one. I'm asking you to solve for one.
But then HB and HF was changed.
Only because you're finding one.
Okay.
You make life so difficult.
Oh, please. All right, the graph.
Do you torture your kids like this?
Yes.
That's all that you said. Only.
Like you equal.
Y'all make it sound like that is just unreal. You have to divide.
Because it's going against everything you told us. But
This is why I have some issues now.
so with the unit on that page,
It was
what would the unit on that be?
On what?
I don't know. I didn't ask the question.
The unit is the same as what's on your reference table, joules over grams.
For what? HB or HF?
Yes.
You said with the record table and what?
I was going to go over the other homework paper,
Okay,
Oh.
but we don't have to if you don't want to.
I understand.
I keep trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, because I was confused.
I don't like that.
Where's the answer?
So
I
Go over.
misunderstood.
Like, I think I did good on the first one, but
I looked
I
at
just got to find the questions, so I got something. Questions today. All right, so number 1. What's the freezing point of the substance?
5
It needs the unit.
degrees Celsius.
There you go. 5 degrees Celsius.
Wait, we're supposed to put numbers?
It says what's the freezing point.
I put letters.
Don't even go back.
Okay.
There's numbers to the left, so you're supposed to like.
Find the numbers, yes. It's okay. Common mistake every year. All right, so 5 degrees Celsius. So what's the boiling point of the substance? 15 degrees Celsius. What's the melting point of the substance? 5 degrees Celsius.
Whoa.
Are we okay with that?
Freezing and melting.
See, they should.
Yeah, freezing and melting are the same
They
thing.
should put music
Okay. What letter represents where the solid is warmed?
A.
Where the liquid is warmed?
C.
Where the vapor is warmed?
E.
What letter represents melting?
B.
Hey, you see the difference?
Sure.
No.
Between 7 and 1,
Oh, yeah.
It says letter.
okay?
Doesn't say.
For Caroline, who's yelling, we should have put a letter there for number 1, 2, and 3.
My bad.
Okay, well, I'm just pointing it out.
Don't feel bad. I didn't realize that we were supposed to put numbers like
That's why I said it's a common mistake. Nobody's faulting you for it, we're just fixing it. Number 8, what letter represents vaporization?
B.
Who? Did you say B or D?
D.
D is in dog, okay. All right, now, I think it's easier to talk about 10 first and then do 9. All right, so if we talk about 10, what letter represents a change in kinetic energy?
AC.
Kinetic energy is about motion, right? So where on the graph do you change the motion? What changes the motion of the particle? The temperature changes motion, right?
Yeah.
So temperature is changing in A and C and E. That's why kinetic energy changes in A, C, and E for those people who didn't see that initially. Okay? So where temperature changes, so for those of you who didn't get it on your own, all right, temperature changes here, temperature changes here, and temperature changes here. So temperature causes the kinetic energy to change in these 3 places. Does that make sense for those of you who didn't get it on your own?
Yes, yes.
So that's why it's A, C, and E for kinetic energy. So if kinetic energy changes there, where does the potential energy change in number 9? B and D. Okay? So potential energy changes in B and in D.
Okay.
Okay?
That makes more sense.
All right. Number 11. What letter represents condensation?
D as in dog.
D as in dog. All right. And what letter represents crystallization?
B as in dog.
B as in ball.
Okay, I was
Boy.
Wait, on 4, yeah, 4 through 6, where it says more.
Mhm.
Why did you put A, C, and E if it's already a solid? That's
Because the temperature is going up. So it's a solid, but the temperature line is going up, so that means it's being heated.
Okay.
Okay? That makes sense? All right. Anybody else?
We can split on the back, like.
Yeah.
Now.
Right now.
Cool. Let's do it. All right. You need your reference table and a calculator.
Just the first page.
And your notes. Don't forget your notes.
No notes.
Alright.
Because it said so.
Well, Jesus.
That's
the mom's
If you remember the.
Now I get notes on your exam. Convince the state, now we're more flexible.
Best to get done.
It's elf on the shelf.
It really is.
I hated that stupid elf.
I do see
Like it's not accurate.
You know, I can put reminders in my phone to move that stupid elf. I just made up lies for why that elf forgot to move.
He was too comfortable to do.
We use the dog section every time.
And then we said that, the snow makes me say.
I had to lie until my children, they behaved so well, the elf didn't have to report to Santa. And that was just a gross lie. Because my children never behaved well enough for that elf to go around that.
I hate it. My sister's in kindergarten.
I was wondering.
The elf was supposed to get children to behave well during the Christmas season. Or you were. It doesn't work. And then your creative parents would do cool things like have the elf in the flower and make cookies and do all these really weird things.
One time, he was dating Barbie.
Have you seen the lazy gnome?
No, okay, so I get
He had a lazy gnome who did the
My
same
mom
thing.
asked me for an idea, and I tell her to make it stupid. Okay, so put another dang lamp. That's fine.
Yeah, I just bring you around the living room.
We put him in
So the lady found
the,
us the dog room. We put her under all letters of line. It was a little fun, and she started crying. She was like, Caroline, it's
Well,
what you do with it?
Yeah, you know it, Caroline, yeah.
No, it accidentally did put it down. But we didn't try, I didn't try. I was too much. She started crying, so I was got that cinnamon.
I hate that elf.
Why is it right there?
Alright.
This is like something else.
They
do.
this is
What is it?
It really is quick.
This really is
It really
good.
is.
What's number 1? Because we may not, this not.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Wait, look this.
Skip it, go to number 2.
What's the answer?
What do we do with it?
A. Now,
Thank you.
I didn't look at the question, I have no idea.
What? Oh,
I didn't order the I didn't want any question, I always say, that's one period, they ask, I write the whole day. Now,
Are you gonna count that one right?
Seriously.
no.
What?
I'm not giving you the answer.
You have your
What is
question.
it?
Yeah, what is
Yes, I did. I really did.
You lied.
We talked about geometric patterns, not ease.
Woo! Yes, I did. You should think you capture people. Now, hush. Take the quiz. If you don't know it, I'm sincerely sorry.
No, you're not.
Okay, I'm not sorry. I made that city. She just got it. See? Write down the answer. Write it down.
I didn't hear her.
Big yes. She said, I just got it.
What?
She didn't say the answer. She just figured it out.
For what?
Did I teach you, Karina?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Not really.
Rest of you can figure it out too. And you got a time limit. You got to be done by 9:15.
No, that's
Wait,
not.
hold it.
Oh.
And write your answer on the line.
Did you say?
If it's not on the line, I'm not grading.
I know.
Did you say 10?
I said 9:15.
Hey, I thought I was gonna do good.
Hey,
Yes.
like always. No.
Miss White's rule is if you don't know, guess B.
That's. I thought it was C.
She says B.
Why?
I don't know. That's my advice to you. If you don't know, guess B.
Is that the answer to number one?
I have no idea.
She really said A.
Hey, I can't fix stupid.
Hey.
That's called trust, not stupidity.
Okay, I like that answer better.
No, trust me.
We didn't talk about number 8.
We talked about all of them. No, she's just skipping around.
This is it.
For number 3, we're supposed to pick answer that's closest to what we did.
If it's an estimate, yes. There's some of them are probably rounded.
No one just got it.
No.
Got it a while ago.
That's sneaky.
I just thought about something I didn't ask.
Can we never do one first?
I thought y'all would like
This.
I like multiple choice.
You like this one? Oh, okay.
Can I just?
What do you want, Elton? Yes.
Okay.
No, this is not right.
Can you tell us what E is? This one,
Then what?
when it's got an E in parentheses,
Where you at?
7.
Oh, that's an L. It's a cursive L.
We are now in a code yellow. Absolutely no students are allowed out in the hallway. We are now in a code yellow. Absolutely no students are allowed in the hallway for any reasons. Teachers, please lock your door and continue teaching as usual.
Somebody what?
It's a bunch of different stories, but something about a dozen involved with an outside party.
An outside what?
An outside party, like someone
Yeah.
other than the school.
Hey. Okay, hands is all in set.
Wow, she's jaded. She's pissed me off. She said,
hallway, so to be hall, and you can wander in.
Oh my God, ain't gonna call a lockdown in the hallway?
Not allowed to go yellow.
Well, call yellow, whatever, lockdown.
There's a lot, have you been choosing the hallway like that?
No, she should have been swooped in and sucked up in somebody else's
They never
classroom.
put you in there.
No, all I heard was doors just shutting the whole blue hall. I was like, well, dang. I went outside.
And your tardy will be after the Christmas break. And they have to be done at 9:15, so I'll probably just put you in the back. How many of us are still working?
No, it's not for sure.
Just, you might know.
Who's back here?
hit second and up arrow for a few times and see if it comes on. Maybe the contrast. Anybody working inside John Monica and Jada? All right, hand me your breakfast. All right, Jada, take your stuff and go in the back. So we like multiple choice?
Yeah. You said you were done. One didn't know there's a back. One's changed her mind. Yes. Answer the back. Everybody else knew there was backside, right?
Yeah.
Wait, spare me for a second.
Oh, yeah,
I know, I did all that.
There was one question on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one.
I didn't go myself.
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody else to be like, yeah, and be like, what? There was a question on the back?
I did it.
Okay. Just check it. All right, let's find your notes. We're going to do equilibrium today.
If we get number one wrong, we get
So wait,
because you don't give us the answer.
yeah, we can't go to second period.
We're not gonna have any more questions, right?
When? This week? No, we will not have one tomorrow. The only thing I take up tomorrow is what? The openings. Do not forget to turn the openings in tomorrow. No, he can throw up the trash can. He's not going to the bathroom. I have a lot of things to say. Miss Murray, you can move from here. You can move from here. He can puke in the trash can and I'll call somebody in the office. But he's not looking for the room. He can slide further back.
I don't like throwing. It makes me nauseous.
Okay, what about that? What if someone has like a seizure?
They see that I called the office. I don't have any first aid skills.
That could have
What do you want me to do? Push him out the hallway?
I mean, when you think about it, that could happen. They call
That's
it.
what I'm saying, what do you do?
They call it yellow.
I called the office.
They call it yellow.
No, but like, what if someone? No.
Like, double code yellow.
It would be the same thing if we weren't on code yellow. They would just have a seizure. We would still call for help. What do you have?
A diabetes.
Do you have the flu?
Do you know what this is?
Is it contagious?
And you miss one day.
Right.
Did you have a fever already?
Okay.
Did you have a fever?
Okay.
Yes, I am.
I'm always sick at the worst time. I'm sick because of the crying.
I would.
I always get the flu. I always get the shot too.
The flu shot gives you the flu.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I've only ever had the flu when I got
The flu shot actually made me sick one year. I was
See?
sick like 2 days
And
after
every
I got
time I
You
got
get a lot of viruses and the synthetic virus.
I don't know if they shot me up and I was sick.
every time I got the flu shot, I got sick after, so I didn't get it. And I never went to sleep.
heroin.
The heroin stopped me up.
I got the flu.
Wait, is that
All right,
Okay.
moving on.
Yeah.
This is the question. Yeah. Shut up.
Why do you think I went over that piece yesterday? Because I knew that question
Well,
was on the
since
quiz.
nobody has their quiz no more, what was the answer to number 7?
Which was 7.
I can't
That's something about
One.
the one that has STP.
You was
Yeah.
Sublimation has never from what to what?
Was it solid?
Yeah.
You're just looking for solid together.
What was the answer?
That's something about.
So she
That's
doesn't-
One was yes. One was solid, right?
Was one solid?
No, I'm sorry. No, she comes to answer for number 1. Oh, yeah.
No,
What was the answer?
But she
told
equilibrium is physical
Yeah.
and it's both.
It's both.
Yeah, be solid.
Yeah.
Fixed geometric pattern.
Wait,
Fixed geometric pattern had to be a
Yes, I
solid.
know.
You have people that are solid.
That's a little Hey, Jada, they wrote it.
Exactly. Probably went over that question.
I did it, guys.
That's what
She got on phone. She
So for 8, did you pick chemical and physical?
Yeah.
Yes, that's why we went over that, because that question was on the quiz.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Good. That's why we had to go over that piece. Now, yes, as long as you don't get closer to Devontae, yes. You're lucky we're not putting you closer to the door.
I don't like to smoke.
I said, you're lucky we're not putting you closer to the
You know,
door.
like what?
Now, we're going to talk about equilibrium in 2 phases. We're going to do physical today, and we're going to do chemical after we come back from Christmas break. So we're going to break it up into 2 parts. We're going to focus on the chemical part of equilibrium before Christmas. So we'll do equilibrium today. Boiling and equilibrium vapor pressure will be tomorrow, because we're not going to get to that today. We spent way too much time on the homework. And then, yeah, I know.
But we probably did better on the quiz.
Let's hope so. I hope I'm not going to be suicidal when I grade those things. All right.
When are you going to grade them?
Grade 9 last.
Grade mine first.
Oh, wow.
And put my grade in first.
I'll grade them all. I'll do all of them, all the first columns, all the second columns, and then I'll put them all in together. Now, so when we do equilibrium, we're going to focus on only one thing. Okay? The state wants you to be able to analyze a liquid, vapor system. Okay? So we're going to talk about what does a liquid and a vapor do, or a liquid and a gas do. So we're getting ready to talk about. So it changes from a.
to each other.
So what does it do? A liquid changes into a vapor. What phase changes that? All right, vaporization or evaporation. You can say it either way. And once it changes into a gas, it will do what?
Condense.
It will condense. Okay. So we're going to talk about evaporation and condensation.
And they are interchangeable.
Now, if you think about what we talked about yesterday, we said there were 2 parts. You had to have, what 2 things? You had to have equal rates
And
and you had to have 2 opposing processes. So, if we just have evaporation, we cannot have equilibrium achieved. If we just have condensation, we cannot have equilibrium achieved. So we have to talk about a system where we're going to have both. So the system the state wants you to talk about or understand how it works is evaporation and condensation. We could do that. Hold on. We could do this with melting and freezing, and I could use that example. I could do it with sublimation and deposition. However, because the state is going to ask you about evaporation and condensation, that's the example I'm going to use. I just want to point out that you could do this with any of the 3 phase changes. I could just as easily explain it with melting and freezing or sublimation and deposition. Okay? Yes, ma'am. This is the physical portion. We'll do chemical after Christmas because we'll do calculations and write equations with it. Okay? Everybody got what they want off the board? All right, so I got to draw some ugly boxes to go with this one. I know. I know, y'all will be thrilled.
That sounds like.
All right, so we got some water in a container, and it's a closed system. Okay, meaning no outside environment affects it. So when the water evaporates, it's staying inside the box. When it condenses, it's staying inside the box. Nothing is leaving the box. Nothing is entering the box. Okay, the container is completely sealed. So, as any amount of water works, okay, water molecules move. Okay, everybody knows this. They're not stationary, correct? When they have sufficient kinetic energy, they will break the surface of the liquid and begin evaporating. I don't know what they're doing. I'm hoping they're watching something. They usually sound better.
I'm sorry.
What are y'all doing over there? Because y'all don't sound very good today.
Oh, we're watching a musical.
Thank God.
What is it?
Because you don't want to sing. She Loves Me.
She don't love me.
You don't like it?
Well, no, they were asking what y'all were doing, and I was like, I hope they're watching something because y'all don't sound very good today. Normally, y'all just sound so much better.
Where are you?
All right. So the water molecules are going to move. Everybody's good on that, right? Now, evaporation, first of all, always takes place at the surface of the liquid. And we'll talk about these differences tomorrow when we talk about boiling. So when things evaporate, evaporation always happens at the surface of the liquid. So when it has enough kinetic energy, the water molecules will leave the surface and they will become vapor molecules. Okay? Now, so evaporation has started. Are we at equilibrium? All right? I hear no. I agree. The answer is no. Why not? I like this. We're at Code Yellow, and we got people knocking on the door. Maybe it's a net. Hey. Oh, we got another guest?
She looked like she was getting pushed in. Hey, I'm not
You know what's about Devontae? Apparently he's getting ready to throw in the trash can. We're trying to keep people away from the illness. And unless you want to spend Christmas ill, sit over there. You know why we're on yellow?
I just
Okay. No. You had to have an escort to get here?
Yeah, I thought right, and then it came to my mom tried to come in here.
I really don't like them.
Oh, okay. So,
Can you leave while you're on Code Yellow? Like if you get called to leave? Like, can you?
I don't know. They might just come get you, depending on how serious Code Yellow is.
Wait, question. Why don't they just tell y'all what's happening?
They did. They made a phone call home last night.
They lied on that phone call. They lied.
Oh, y'all got a phone call?
Yeah.
They lied to
We
What
had
they
a
say?
They tried to set a lockdown for like precautionary measures.
Because someone walked past the main
without
office.
like. Yeah, they said just someone just walked through the school. That wasn't. They didn't go to the announcement.
The only email we have is from Mr. Tomberlin, because apparently he didn't know that he was on lockdown. And he wants somebody to come tell him that we're on lockdown next time.
First of all, nobody cares about Tom. So that's.
Oh, hop off my time balloon now.
All right, so that's all I got. All right, so how do we know we're not in equilibrium?
Because they're not.
Okay, we're not at equal rates. That's one. But what else? We're not condensating. We said we had to have what? 2 opposing processes. How many processes do you have? One. Okay? There is only one process occurring.
How though?
What's the only thing we said was happening?
Evaporation.
All we have so far is evaporation. So you can't be at equilibrium when all that's occurring is what? Evaporating.
Maybe I'm thinking ahead.
You are. We're not there yet.
Okay.
We will get there. Okay? Because we have to also talk about Le Chatelier, which is going to allow us to shift the equilibrium.
That sounds like.
It's not hard. We'll have to do it with physical and chemical. Just catch up. What's the man's last name?
What's his name?
Le Chatelier.
They just, he's French.
Yes, he's French.
I
don't remember. I'd have to look. I don't remember.
Wait.
My husband's name is Larry. I thought you were asking about Le Chateliers.
Larry Wall.
Yeah, he hates his name, but that's what it is. He was named after his dad.
Larry was short.
Wait, so is it Larry Wall?
Larry Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Ew.
Names your kid.
Mariah.
All right, so evaporation. All right, so evaporation continues. So if evaporation continues, the vapor builds and collects.
This is like part 2.
Yep.
Looks like a comic strip.
All right, so if the vapor builds and collects at the top, what are the vapor molecules going to begin to do? Okay, before they condensate, how do they condensate? What do they have to do to each other? They have to connect, all right? So the vapor collides, say this, and sticks together. Okay? Now, as it sticks together, it begins to slow down and change back into a liquid. Condensation begins. Are we at equilibrium?
Yes.
No. It just started. Okay? This one started. This one is continuing. What have we not said?
It's not equal.
It's not equal. All right? They're not at equal rates. Now, if it doesn't expressly say that the rates are equal, can you assume the rates are equal? No. It's a lot like the gas laws where it said STP. If it doesn't say STP in the question, could you assume STP? No. So if it doesn't tell you in the question that you're at equilibrium or the rates are equal, can you assume those things? No. So here it said evaporation was continuing, condensation was beginning. It doesn't say anything about the rates are equal. You cannot assume the rates are equal. So we have to assume that they're not the same.
Let's take a picture of the last slide.
Yeah.
1 second. 1 second.
Okay.
And you'll have attention after the holiday.
Was there another slide before this one?
Who's gonna have to take time for the holiday?
And then,
Why?
Okay, I got that.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think she's
Wait.
pretty absent though, isn't she?
yeah,
How long was
I guess we could probably not worry about it then.
Yeah, but that's not fair. She's
I was
pretty
gonna say-
absent.
Yeah, but you're still tardy to class.
No, but
Okay, but you're not here and they
If you're
don't
not
know
even
that.
counted, you can't be tardy.
Yeah.
You can't be late if it's past the time.
You're not her attorney.
Okay, I got it.
Jada was tardy to class, and she's got to serve detention, and
They were actually here on time though.
that's always tardy.
Not always.
No. But Jada was here
A
on
lot.
time.
Yeah, she was.
She made it
Was
for
Jada
the
here?
halfway point.
We're halfway back.
Halfway is 9:10. Jada got here at 9:09.
Dang.
Just saying.
Okay.
You knew that.
I was.
Really wanted to leave that there.
Ms. Wall,
Yes.
you have Caroline Powell.
Yes.
Okay, could you send her this way and Miss Barley's gonna meet her. She has a doctor's appointment.
Is she going up the main hall?
No, she's gonna come out and Miss Barley's gonna be at the door.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Did
Did you understand where you were going?
No. Dog to the courtyard?
Just go to the side store and hang there. She's bound to find you.
Why? Someone must be serious.
Can't do that. So they're doing all this to get you to the front office.
Well, some
If
of
you
them-
don't, they let people
Here.
eat outside.
I think. Tell Miss Barley to come back and take you that.
I don't understand how you have a.
Are we gonna stop teaching at the same time?
If they tell us to stay a second period, no, I'm not stopping.
First.
I mean, if they tell us to stay a first period and not go to second, yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
But I gotta cook, so they need to stop playing.
All the way, we're not.
I'm hoping we're going to second period. I really don't want to lose my planning period, but you know, I guess we'll just see what happens. I'm not overly impressed first. I'm a little bit ahead at the moment, thanks to all those snow days last week. All right, so if we look at the last box, okay? So if we look at the last box, so evaporation and condensation. I was gonna say, try to not kill yourself right there. Continue.
Do you have Catherine?
Powell? Oh, she just went that way.
They called her.
Yes.
Okay.
Miss Byerly was coming one direction. Is she still coming?
Well, that's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna say I don't want to get in trouble for.
Outside and I couldn't get in. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Why's the front doors or the main doors to the building locked? All right. Eventually, both will occur at equal rates. Now, when they occur at equal rates, what will we know? Equilibrium will be achieved. Now, this is the misconception that people have. Did I say the amount of water and the amount of vapor are equal? No. Okay? The amounts of water and vapor are not equal. Okay, it's important to keep that straight. The rate at which they change into each other is equal. All right? The example I like to use for this is like people going in and out of a store. So if, let's just say Walmart is not 24 hours. It opens at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., a bunch of people might go in, right? Or a bunch of people coming out.
Go in.
They're going in. So are there people to come out? Not at opening. So are you going to be at equilibrium? No, you're not. But around, let's say 11, if 10 people go in and 10 people come out, you can reach equilibrium because the number of people going in and the number of people going out are the same. Are the number of people in the store and the number of people in the parking lot necessarily the same? No. That's like your water and your vapor. The number of people inside the store and the number of people outside the store don't have to be the same. The number of people going in and going out have to be the same to reach equilibrium. Okay? The rate at which it evaporates and condenses has to be the same. The amount of water and the amount of vapor does not have to be the same. Okay? Now, what affects the rate of evaporation? Oh, you need to go back? Okay, yes. We need one more thing. Let's let Jada get it.
Oh, that's a picture.
You sure? Okay, so what affects the rate of evaporation? All right. Diamond yelled out temperature. That is correct. All right, I need one more answer. You're very warm.
Volume?
All the answer.
I need something more specific than how much there is.
Volume.
That's volume.
Gram.
Mass. Density. Diffusion. Sublimation.
Sublimation.
I thought you said discrimination.
If y'all play tennis, it rains before match. You gotta dry the courts. What do we do?
I don't know.
Heat.
Okay?
Heat temperature, isn't it?
Really not.
Energy.
Golf.
They usually use something called a squeegee and they spread the water out.
I think it's a squeegee.
Usually a big roller.
Like,
Oh.
It's a big roller.
What's the
And
answer?
they roll the water out.
Air.
What's the purpose of rolling all the water out on the court?
you just tell us the answer.
Oh, it's spread out.
Why do we spread the water out? What are we doing?
It evaporates.
It does evaporate faster. What's the purpose? What are we doing to the water? We are flattening it.
For increasing surface area.
There you go. We're increasing its surface area.
That's stupid.
Increasing its surface area. All right. Now, one thing affects condensation. It is not one of these two answers. Everybody hear me say that? So don't tell me temperature again. I said don't tell me that.
Yes.
No.
Volume?
That sounds like Charlie Brown next door. Now, what affects the rate of condensation? All right. Condensation is affected by what? Not volume.
How heavy? How heavy?
No.
I don't know.
It's a new vocabulary word, but I'm looking for something that means the vocabulary word. Well, it starts with a C, but I'm looking for something that means that. What? No. It's called concentration, but I wasn't looking for you to tell me that word. I was looking for you to say something like how many gas molecules. Okay? It means the number of particles. All right, for us, it's the amount of vapor. Okay, the more vapor we have, the more condensation we're going to get. All right, so for example, in the summertime, on days where it's more humid, we're going to get more condensation. For example, you get a drink cup, whether it be something that's I'm going to pick on Karina. She likes those energy drinks. Okay, so if they're cold, they're in cans, right? If it's a really humid day, they're going to sweat much worse on the outside of the can than they will if it's not as humid, because there's more vapor particles in the air. There's more water in the air. So they're going to sweat worse than they would if there's less vapor in the air. Okay? So, everybody have what they want. Wait a moment.
Can't take over too much because I have.
That is very good.
Okay,
Some veggies in her today.
Still don't care about your hat.
That's pretty good. We got some veggies in her today.
They're like, yeah, I had to
Some liquefied veggies, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
He ate your ass.
You're like crazy.
It was,
They're
very
actually
overrated.
They can
That might be good.
I'd rather have the.
That's not veggies though.
You said tomatoes.
Who drinks tomato juice?
I can do V8 tomato juice ones. I can't do the blueberry pomegranate.
I think we could. Cold ones.
I don't like soup.
I get it.
All right. Le Chatelier. Y'all are going to call him Le Chatler, I'm sure. All right, but his name is Le Chatelier. He is French.
He's gonna be just like the officer whose name I don't know.
Chatterton.
I heard Chatterton. Chatterton.
I heard
Chatterton.
Chapman.
Chatterton.
Chatterton's an old one.
I thought it was Chaddington.
Chatterton.
Chatterton.
Chatterton. Chatterton.
The officer.
People can miscall me all the
Chatterton.
time. I can do this to people.
All right, so Le Chatelier. All right, it's Le Chatelier.
You know what? I'm gonna come up with my own.
If you're going to call him the Chatler, that's fine, as long as you know what he said. All right, he said, if a system is subjected
Wait,
to a stress,
is that an I?
yeah, that's an I.
Okay.
If a system is subjected to a stress,
Oh,
the system, all right, the system will automatically minimize if a system is subjected to a stress, the system will automatically minimize the stress.
Good morning. Please do not dismiss any student from your class until otherwise notified. Please do not dismiss any students from your classroom. So that means even when we've reached time for first period to be over, do not release your students unless we tell you. Thank you so very much for your assistance with this matter.
Sounds to me like I'm getting extra time today.
Oh my God.
Sorry. It sounds like I'm getting to finish equilibrium. All right. Yes. We're at least going to finish equilibrium. Now, I may not do boiling, but we're at least going to finish Le Chatelier in equilibrium. All right? Le Chatler is not his name. It's Le Chatelier. All right? If a system is subjected to a stress, the system will automatically minimize the stress. Now,
Taking away from my cooking time now. You're playing.
No.
just take
I wish I could do that.
I think it's
Yeah.
Oh,
Stress.
I didn't eat breakfast for
This
this week.
was
Y'all
class.
playing. I'm really hungry and I'm getting pissed off.
yes, we could list any number of stresses. However, there are 3 we're going to work with.
Everything.
We're going to work with temperature,
And the
Principles.
pressure,
You.
and concentration. Now, the only one we're doing today is temperature. Pressure and concentration, we will do with chemical equilibrium after Christmas break. Okay? I'd love to know, why we're under code yellow, but.
I mean, I would too, because what if we're in danger? We just need to get rid of the school because we have to do this.
Like, what's been happening? Like,
I'm
I thought
hungry
they're
right
supposed to
now.
even have the reason why we're on like a lockdown or something.
Have you met the administration at the school?
They stole her paper towels. You make them clean over.
What? They took a week to even know my mom back. She had to see
I didn't even know they called y'all last night.
They need to send us home. I feel bad.
I'm gonna sue.
You're not gonna get much. We're broke. We're
I know.
almost $1 in debt.
You're gonna get.
All right.
I'll get like
$910,000.
a
Okay.
ripped up and maybe like a free pack of it. That's all. A ripped up.
You're not sure you're getting that.
Like a
Didn't take my
standard.
$100,000.
The
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm
Are we
gonna
caught
like
up?
have it.
Because of the charter and my screens and other stuff.
They didn't even need
The charter school is a good part of it, but it's not all of it.
I hate everything.
What is the rest of it? I would like to know.
I
Charter
have
school
my
students.
Unless
And if I hear that stupid door open close one more time, I'm doing that. Like, you do
Can you tell us your theories?
Tell them to
Can you whisper them?
No.
The video off?
Sing them?
Like I've said before, I can have all the internal
Write it down
conversation I
or
wish to have.
drive
I just can't say them.
This would be a long video.
You should say.
stream.
All right. Now, everybody have what they need.
No.
I don't have my sanity.
I don't want either.
You're not gonna get it here.
Just remember, one more day. One
I'm
more
not
day.
coming tomorrow. Y'all got
If we not on lockdown tomorrow.
They gonna go on lockdown.
The saving grace in this whole
Hey,
lockdown is.
And
like, no one's calling.
I don't wanna be in this class for anyone
Get
I
me
have
sick. I
to.
have an excuse to not be here.
It could be so
For
much
you.
Like, don't really call me because then I'll.
I take my
It could be
lessons
so
where
much
I've got it.
faster for you.
But I'm trying to get sick.
I think we should all just add a words just because we have to be here.
Are you already on that water?
I'd like to be in six.
I'm not even worried about that.
Hey, but they don't want us to kid.
All right, everybody should be caught up at this point.
Yeah.
Now, how does this apply to what we did? All right, so if we look at the 3 boxes that we drew just a second ago. I mean, I could go back to the ones we already drew, but most of you would be like, Ms. Wall, I can't squeeze that in my notes. So I'm just going to redraw them. So, okay. What would happen? These are, I'm adding to what you had. Now, I could, like I just said to Owen, I can go back here and try to squeeze it in your notes, but you guys are going to tell me I didn't leave that kind of space, Ms. Wall.
I do.
Okay, I mean, if you have space, go back.
I got like a good.
But most of you probably didn't leave space. So, if I increase the temperature, what's going to happen?
Gonna go faster.
All right. We increase the temperature. The water molecules will move faster. All right. So if they move faster, they break the surface faster. Which means they evaporate faster. Equilibrium is disturbed. Okay, so we are no longer at equilibrium.
Is that everything already?
For that one box, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so
H2O.
molecules. The water molecules will move faster. They break the surface of the liquid faster. So they're going to evaporate faster. So equilibrium is now disturbed. Because remember, we were at equilibrium in that last box, right? So if I increase the temperature, I'm disturbing the equilibrium. So in the next box, we're going to talk about how it responds to that. No, Ms. Bowers isn't always. She has to pee.
That's your best.
You're just surrounded by toxic waters, unless you are the toxicity yourself.
First of all, that movie's terrible, and I need them to get it together.
What movie?
They were watching Newsies there in second grade. I think that one was bad.
They're watching
What is
Eli Smith.
I don't know what that is.
What?
This is like the love.
What, Newsies?
No, all of the above.
If love sounds like that, I don't want it. You can keep it.
I didn't think Newsies was bad. I'd never heard of it before, but it was kind of entertaining.
We didn't finish it. And it would make me mad. She always make us answer them questions, so we actually gotta watch the movie. Like, I could take 5 minutes sleep.
Oh.
And then come to sleep. Let's see this.
And if you turn it off, you can't hear it. Not like you can
Music Man already wrote it, so I was good. Because Music Man is not.
For an interruption, just want to remind you again, please do not dismiss any student until
Okay.
notified.
This is from
Please do
staff
not
who's terminally
dismiss
stupid.
any student from your classroom until notified. Thank you so very
If
much.
they are endangered,
I was
No,
just thinking
because
about
they know we, you know what? I hate the school.
We all do.
And I did say that on the live
You can start
broadcast, by the
bell
way.
today, so.
But if they didn't get that the first time she said don't dismiss, they deserve to be called stupid on a live broadcast.
Perfect.
We speak Spanish. You stop playing with it.
All right, so what's going to happen now in the second box? What are we making more of if we're evaporating faster? All right, so we make more vapor. All right, so if we're making more vapor, what are we getting less of? That's right, okay? So I'm just going to write that in parentheses. So there will be less water because it's turning into vapor. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's evaporating, so we're getting less water because we're making more vapor. All right, so if we make more vapor, condensation will occur at a faster rate. Yep, that's just the third box. So what do you think I'm going to say in the third box?
Equal.
At.
Equal rate.
Okay, almost.
Different equal.
All right, at a, instead of at different equal rates, at a, I want one word, at a faster rate. Okay, so for the last box, we're going to say equilibrium is re-established at a faster rate. Okay, so you get back to equilibrium. It's just going to be at a faster rate because you're evaporating faster and you're condensing faster because you change the temperature. Now, would the same thing happen if we lowered the temperature? It would go the opposite direction. So catch up with me and we'll talk about it, but we're not going to write it. Push shelf. At least not on the shelf.
Those things are crazy. I don't care what y'all think.
I ain't never know about them.
I didn't put much blush on.
Right.
Well, I was in 8th grade, and it was like, yeah, where's your
Right.
I was like, what are y'all talking about?
Somebody
I
did.
see y'all
Know about the elf.
Does
I got to like,
Oh, only if I
Second
moved
grade.
it, but I had a hard time remembering.
Because they took everybody to the library. It was like,
I was a terrible parent. I admit that. I hated that elf.
Oh, don't worry, I walked in and my parents.
I want
tried
it,
it.
but I don't want it passive.
No.
yeah, me.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you.
Right.
Oh, he got people.
Dang! Wow!
It's a second period.
You just show up for second period every day. Hey, Ben!
does that hurt?
You know how pissed I would be. Take me home.
All because of lockdown. We're kind of going, wow. I just looking at him, yeah. See what he looks like. It's been so long. It's only been a whole quarter.
I'm surprised you knew who he was.
I know who he is. I'm debating whether I should call him Louis or Luis.
Luis, please call him Luis. Who is Louis?
Yeah, he didn't even tell me I was saying his name wrong for the entire quarter.
Well, he didn't even call us.
He wants to
Oh, he only came half of that. Alright, so if we lower the temperature.
I would have been mad. I would have been hot.
So if we lower the temperature, what's gonna happen to the water? It's gonna move slower. So what will happen to the evaporation rate?
Slow down.
It'll slow down. So what will happen to our amount of vapor?
Less.
There'll be less vapor. So what happens to our amount of water?
It'll increase.
It'll increase. Alright, so what happens to our rate of equilibrium? It'll be what? It'll be slower. Alright, let's try some practice real quick.
I'm
Then-
dying.
Then maybe we won't have to have homework
Will
questions.
there be boxes on
Oh, yeah.
I can
stays
look right
in?
now.
I would imagine these kind of questions will not have any kind of boxes. They'll just have words.
So, question. Is this code yellow so weird that I can't stuff in the back and blow my nose?
No, this is faction.
Have you heard that song with
Because
Wine?
this is not what's up.
Somebody said wine makes sound like almost like.
It says practice right now.
Maybe like.
Oh, so you
Just like.
Oh, I did. Hey, look at this.
Let's try this and see if we can get through this. Oh, give me my paper back. I don't need one.
The wine injuries.
No.
Oh, I just threw your progress report away yesterday. For real. The one that had all of your classes on it. You didn't need mine, but you could have had everybody else's. But I haven't never seen you, so I just threw it away.
I want it.
Alright, so if we look at the question. Alright, and number 33. I don't know these are numbered weird. Alright. It's telling you have a liquid vapor system, which is what we're working on. Alright? So it's telling you, alright, suppose the temperature is increased. So we're increasing the temperature. It wants to know, alright? Increase the temperature, and equilibrium is established at a higher temperature. How does the final value of each of the following compare to its initial value? And it wants you to use the answers higher, lower, or the same. How would the rate of evaporation change if you increase the temperature? Okay? Don't write nada. Okay? So I want you to figure it out. Is it higher, lower, or stays the same if you increase the temperature? Would your rate of evaporation be higher, would it be lower, or would it stay the same if you increase the temperature?
It would be high.
It would be higher.
It would be higher, okay? Because
Side A. Yes, side A. Okay. Why would it be higher since y'all are looking at me like I'm crazy? There's an increase in temperature, so the particles will do what? They will go faster, they will speed up. So if they speed up, the molecules are going to evaporate at a faster rate. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
You think you can try C, B, and D?
No.
Try it anyway.
C, B, and D.
Well, B, C, and D. I just
Can we
came out
do
with-
B?
What happens to the rate of condensation if you increase the temperature? Okay.
I don't know. I don't really.
Because I want to say higher, and I feel like I'm wrong.
Or will it stay the same?
See, this is what we need to go over. I don't know. No, I don't feel.
Okay. If we increase the temperature and evaporation goes up, what do you make more of?
Vapor,
Yes.
droplets, little vapor thingies.
So, if you increase temperature, you just told me you make more vapor. Okay? So if you make more vapor, what has to happen to condensation? You're going to increase condensation.
So higher.
So you're going to put higher for condensation because condensation is going to get greater if you make more vapor. Okay? So,
C be lower.
all right, for C, it says what will happen to your vapor molecules. What did you just tell me about vapor? There's more vapor. So it has to increase.
So they're all high.
Hold on. For D, it says what happens to your liquid. So what's going to happen to the liquid? Well, if you turned the liquid into vapor, what happens to our amount of
Teachers, at
water?
this time, I ask that each one of you read your emails.
What happens to our water? I will in a second. What happens to my water?
It goes down.
I'm getting ready to read it. What happens to my water?
Lower.
Oh my God.
I thought he could tell us.
Wrong.
Are you stepping from this? I'll be in there asleep right now.
I think it's what
As well. How long you gotta be here for that?
You have to be in each class half a day to be considered present for that class. But for the day, 11:30.
Yeah, I can't even go home with that. That don't sound fun over there. Are we switching seats?
Yeah. It doesn't say. But they're going to limit your flow and movement throughout the day. You can only go to the bathroom if it's an absolute emergency.
Why? Did they tell you what's going on?
Apparently, y'all are not behaving very well.
That's a whole lot. Please tell us what's going on.
I'm telling you, that's what it says.
Read it verbatim.
Read it out loud.
Basically, it says y'all can't behave.
Verbatim.
They're getting too many fights.
Oh, too many.
And they're considering canceling the talent show.
Students and teachers, at the sound of the bell, we will lift the code yellow. Students will be allowed to change classes. However, students, you need to use the restroom in between class changes and get to class on time. We will also still provide grab and go. For those students that need to go to grab and go, you have 5 minutes to get to grab and go and to your classrooms. So teachers, we're going to ask that you allow the students at the sound of the bell to change classes, get to their classroom. Also, students, there has been some activity in the building where students have had things that happen outside of the building and decided that Lexington Senior High School is the place where they will finish them. This will not be the place and has not been all year. If that means that we postpone that talent show that you have all earned and look forward to, we will do that. I should not hear any more disturbances in this building today. Thank you. Let's have a great rest of the week.
Awesome it is. It didn't say they were going to do it. Go fast. Get my calculators up here.